Hello and welcome to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey and all teams. We're back for a Q&A. I think this is number 4, so that's pretty exciting. There's a lot of questions in the last Q&A, and it's been a while since we did one, so...
Q&As are fun.
They are fun. So
I love Q&As.
I thought, well, you know, why not? Let's throw a Q&A in there. So that's what we're here to do. We've got 15 questions from you guys, and we're going to sit here and answer them. So we've got 2 from Discord and the rest from YouTube. All future questions will be from... the YouTube comments, but this specific one I had 2 private questions here, so
cool.
Take it away.
Alrighty. Shane writes, what are your thoughts on regular NHL games being played around the world? For example, London, Stockholm, Moscow. And would you be open to a future expansion team not being based in the USA or Canada? For example, London in the UK.
My personal view on this is I am okay with the odd game in Moscow or Stockholm, London, or wherever. Sure, play a game there, play 2 games there, kind of like what they're doing in Sweden.
So are you okay like regular season games? As opposed to
regular season games, why not? Just to expand. The next part of the question is opening up in a future expansion team in a place like that. I don't know about one specific team. If you had maybe 5 or 6 teams to make up a division within Europe, that might be able to work. It would be really hard, but it might be able to work because if the London, whatever they're called, travel from London and come over to to North America, they might be able to play 8 games and then go back home. So they'd travel-wise, it would be really complicated. They'd have to play a lot of road games at once. But
they would, and if they're the only team, then how do they play home games? Right?
What?
Well, if they're the only team from Europe.
No, I'm speaking if there's a division of
a division
4 or 5 teams.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I think that it would actually work.
I think it would obviously be complicated, and this would not happen for 20 years at least. But I think I'd be okay with that.
Well, you can fly from New York Kennedy to LAX in 4.5 hours. You can fly New York Kennedy to Heathrow in 5-6 hours. So it's not that much farther than a cross-continent trip now.
Yeah.
For teams. So that makes it, not totally wacky. Now Asia, Australia, that would be wacky.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
not
far.
That's not a question.
But I think to have this work, I think what I would rather see is not unlike what they do in Europe. We know with Champions League, where in European football, or soccer as we would call it, you have your own country's league. You have La Liga, you have the Barclays Premier League in England, you have the German Bundesliga, and you have other leagues in each country. But then some of the top teams in those leagues play each other during the season for a different cup.
Okay.
The other way to do it, of course, is to have the NHL's champion play the KHL's champion at the end of it all for a world championship.
That would be really interesting.
Not unlike the World Series. I would love that.
And
maybe they wouldn't play as much, or maybe even at all, in the regular season, but then they would play in a big final. That'd be cool.
Speaking about baseball, do you know that they're considering realigning the stuff more to what hockey looks like now, the divisions and stuff, and based on location and stuff?
Okay.
Yeah.
They keep fiddling with baseball. In 1969, when the Montreal Expos joined the league, the other team that joined that year was the Houston Astros, also in the National League. Now Houston's in the American League, and there's teams that have changed leagues. That's just.
I'm okay with it though. I liked it to be more location based, but
yeah, I'm not okay with it.
You're an old timer.
I'm an old timer. Back in the day, you basically finished first in the East or first in the West. You played the other guy, and the winner went to the World Series. It wasn't this wild card crossover garbage that they do now.
I don't like the wild cards.
Playing that single game at the end of the season to determine the wild card entrant. I don't like it. I don't like it. Alrighty, so we kind of get off topic there.
So we're
but that's what Q&A is all about. That's why Q&A is so fun.
There's
at least for us.
no rules and structure for this.
Probably driving the viewers crazy.
Probably
it's great fun for us. Okay, Matthias says, Neil, what do you think about the cap space system, for or against? And if you would change anything about it, what would you change?
Well, actually, I think the NHL does some things wrong. there's probably a list of about 15 things that I would change in the NHL. The cap system's not one of them. I think the NHL actually does a really good job with the cap system. I'm glad they brought it in. I hate when teams can buy championships, because you used to see that in hockey. Detroit, I think, did it in the 90s, and you can see it in other sports too. But I'm really happy with the cap system. I know a lot of people aren't, but I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the amount. I'm okay with the floor of it. Good with the ceiling. I like it. I wouldn't change anything, actually.
I totally disagree.
Really?
Totally.
But why? You'd want Phoenix to go out and spend $250 million Arizona to go out and spend $250 million and get all the best players and buy a cup?
No. but it won't happen because they don't have that kind of money. They don't have that kind of money because they can't get fans in the stands.
I could have said the Rangers.
Okay, and the Rangers would be inclined to do it because that's what the Yankees do every year, but It doesn't always work, does it?
No, but the Yankees have been one of the most they've been the most successful baseball team.
And they've been the most
history.
Successful professional sports franchise in North America.
25 championships?
Passing Montreal,
like that, yeah.
which has 24. I think the Yankees might be up to 26 or 27 by now, too. So, I don't like the cap because I don't think parity is all that important. I don't think we should artificially interfere with the game to the extent that we want everyone to finish somewhere between 90 and 110 points and then just shake dice and see who plays who.
Yeah, but anyone can win. You don't want to watch Pittsburgh play Chicago every single year or Detroit play whoever in the playoffs every single year.
But it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen because other teams would realize that, okay, well, we've got to take the wallet out and we've got to compete with the Rangers or compete with the Red Wings or the Kings. We've got to spend more money. And teams like Montreal and Toronto and Boston and Chicago, which went for a long, long time with nothing.
Yep.
They have big fan bases. They have lots of draw for fans, and they probably would get really good TV deal rights. And they could afford to pay players what players think they're worth. Now, I think almost everybody's overpaid. But
in hockey?
Oh yeah. Well, no.
Because we look at baseball.
Well, yeah. If you look at baseball, basketball,
ridiculous.
football, $20 million a year for some of these people or more. And even soccer, what they're paying some of these.
God.
One team will pay another 15 million pounds or whatever, euros, for the rights to get that guy and then pay him money too.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But anyway, that's bedlam. But I don't like the cap.
All right. We don't have to agree. That's the beauty.
We don't.
That's the beauty of this channel. People can disagree with people.
They can, and still respect the other person's opinion.
Exactly.
All right. This comes from Jackson. When is your birthday, Neil?
It's at the end of April.
The end of April.
End of April. I'm a Taurus.
He's full of bull.
See what you did there.
Strawberry Lumps says, Neil, why do you have such small eyes?
It's an interesting question. Just trying to be more aerodynamic, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't help it. Sorry.
We're doing some DNA tests. We're going to be on the Maury show to see who the real father is, But when I was younger, I had that comment made about me too.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, that I had a bit of an Asian appearance or that I had small eyes. And maybe when you get older. When you get older, usually everything kind of gets bigger. So maybe it doesn't show up as much now, but yeah, I think it's...
maybe my brain is just so big and full of such knowledge that it shrinks my eyeballs.
Yeah, maybe.
Clearly not. All right.
Yeah. Why is the sky blue? Nicholas says, which 3 Stanley Cup matchups would you want to see? That's a great question.
It is a great question.
Wow.
I would say Montreal versus San Jose because they're my 2 favorite teams. I would say Washington versus St. Louis because it would be guaranteed to see one of the two.
Yes.
Those 2 teams win.
Very good point.
Who else? This last one's going to be really hard. Maybe Montreal-Calgary, an 89 rematch.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know.
I'm trying to get my own team out of the mix here because obviously I'd like to see my own team against almost anybody.
Right.
But to be stepping back as a hockey fan, I think a Toronto-Chicago final
that would be really good.
Be a blast.
Yep.
Original 6,
Totally.
not too far apart, and I like teams in the Western conference that are actually not in the Pacific time zone, so I could actually maybe stay up late enough to watch the damn games. That'd be nice.
That'd be great.
I do like your point about St. Louis being involved in a final. I think that St. Louis is long overdue. They've got the talent, they've got the fans, they've got the history behind them. 50 years now in the league. That'd be great to see them.
Maybe St. Louis versus Buffalo.
Yeah, or St. Louis Rangers. St. Louis Buffalo, I guess, would be good.
Yeah, it would be really good.
It'd be good for St. Louis, the way things are going.
Yeah, maybe even a Detroit, Colorado, bringing back that 90s, early 2000s rivalry.
That would be great, especially if the goalies went.
Yeah, we're skated to center ice and just started feeding each other.
I read back, Patrick Waugh actually fought 3 different goalies from Detroit. He fought Hasek, he fought Osgood,
Vernon,
and he fought Vernon.
Right.
Like, just give me
unbelievable.
a goalie, I'll fight him.
Yeah,
It was
let's go.
great. Now I'm not sure if it's Pappy World, or it's Pappy World.
Yo, it's Pappy World.
Oh, okay. When will you come to a Flyers game? Interesting how we should.
We just talked about
that
video there.
Yeah.
As soon as we win the lottery, I guess someday, hopefully, definitely in the next 10 years. I would love to visit all the NHL rinks in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way.
But we probably want an escort, from local escort that'll help us, kind of learn the culture of the city a little bit.
Yeah.
Where to sit and who to sit with and
Best place to eat.
hang out. Best place to eat because we got to get some cheesesteak.
Heck yeah.
Hey, Philadelphia is a city. I'd love to visit Philadelphia. The historical parts of it are
Absolutely.
just, going to, all the places that were, important during the American Revolution. Again, we talked about that before.
Big city.
Huge
for
city.
That,
and it's a rough and tumble town in a way, but man, it's got a fantastic contribution to what is now America. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah, good for Philly. Okay, Will's Dirty Dangles 101 says, if you could start a franchise with one of the following players, who would you choose? Players, at the current age they are now, I guess. If Brent picks Price, I'm going to assume it's because he's a Hab, so try again. Well, lately I wouldn't pick Price anyway. So the players are Stamkos, Tavares, Ben, Price, Doughty, Carlson, Ekblad, Ovechkin, Matt Murray, Laine, Eichel, and Tarasenko. One of the following. You only get one.
That's right. Definitely not Eichel, because I don't like his attitude. Not Tarasenko, because I think he's too hot and cold. Not Stamkos, because he's too injury prone. Not Carlson, because I think he is sometimes a little bit too defensively liable. Is that the right word?
Mm-hmm.
He has some giveaways sometimes. Probably not Ekblad, even though he's one of my favorite players. Not Ovechkin, because he's not defensively sound. Not Matt Murray, because he's had his injury troubles. I would say probably Tavares or Ben. In between the two, I'd probably choose Tavares.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the question, maybe from the same angle as you are, but I'm thinking start a franchise. Okay, I'm going to get a franchise off to a good start, and I can pick any one of those guys. And their current age and their current degree of performance. I mean, if we look at the NHL so far, the first 7 or 8 games in, Ovechkin is a beast.
Yes, he is.
And he's certainly got a couple of good years left. So if I'm going to start a franchise and I want to get a ringer for a couple of years to put fans in the building, I think I'll go with Ovi.
See, I was thinking about choosing Laine for that reason, because he's young, he's a rookie, he's a great scorer.
Yeah.
But I think he needs to develop his game a little bit more. So
they're all good choices.
Yeah, they're all
for all good reasons.
All good choices, totally.
Yeah. But there's no wrong answer there. That's a very interesting question and well done. Well chosen. KFCH, or KF says, which hockey movie do you like most?
Probably Mystery Alaska or the original Mighty Ducks movie. Yours would probably be Slapshot.
I think it might have to be Slapshot, but I haven't seen Goon yet.
Did you see the first one?
Not all of it. I don't think I managed to. Did I watch it?
It wouldn't be your favorite movie.
No. But then they made a second one. Like, I'm a big Jay Baruchel fan.
I haven't seen the second one either.
Yeah. So, I'm given the fact that we haven't seen all hockey movies that have ever been made, I think the one I've enjoyed the most in the past has been Slapshot.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah, but I also like both of the movies, like Miracle on Ice.
Miracle on Ice is good, yeah.
You know, it was good, and you know, they've done a good job at trying to recreate a real historical event, and I think that's important too. So,
yeah, good answer.
There's also one that I'm trying to remember the name of it. Jerry Lynn Gilsig played in the movie. It was she's a Canadian actress who's actually acted with a friend of mine, who was actually in the movie, if I might say. He played an agent or something in the show. Now I'm trying to remember the name of the movie, but
I have no idea.
He was in the movie.
What year?
It was Chicks with Sticks, and it was like probably 20 years ago. Chicks with
Never
Sticks.
heard of it.
It was about a women's hockey team, and yeah, my guy I went to school with in Montreal was in the movie. Andy Kravanek.
Interesting.
So I like the movie for that reason, I guess.
Shout out Andy.
And it's a hockey movie, so it would count. T-Bakes10 says, I have two. First, what are your favorite sports besides hockey? Second, do you watch any American sports leagues besides the NHL?
Okay. I'm going to guess yours.
Okay.
And I'm going to say it's probably NASCAR. And then I'm going to say that's not a sport.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's just, I don't think driving around in a circle for 4 hours is considered a sport. But you can disagree, that's totally fine. It's allowable. My favorite sport besides hockey is probably baseball. More so in the past 3 or so years. The Blue Jays got into the playoffs a couple years in a row. I was watching a lot of Nats past couple weeks. I'm a little bit of a closet Dodgers fan. So yeah, I'd say baseball.
Cool. You're right about NASCAR being my favorite, and you're wrong about NASCAR not being a sport. Sure, it's not an athletic game like other sports are, but you have to be in shape to do 600 laps in Charlotte.
I will agree with that.
You got to be in shape.
It is a physically demanding sport.
Yeah, and it's not just the driver.
I guess I just said it was a sport, didn't I?
Yeah, it is a sport, but you know, there's degree of sports. I'm not going to hang you on that comment, but there's the pit crew. They have to be athletic, and they have to be very good at what they do.
Good point. There's
strategy, you know, so I can go on all day about how NASCAR is more than just doing 400 circles.
I'll agree, it's a sport.
Okay. And it is my favorite, besides hockey. I really, really like NASCAR. But I like stock cars in general. It doesn't have to really be NASCAR. I'm happy watching an ARCA race. I'm mostly into the circle track thing, not a big fan of the road course in North America. I do watch Formula One for the road courses that they run. They all run exclusively road courses. And I really like, and the more I watch, the better I like it. The standing start in Formula One, where they're all sitting there until the lights go out and then away they go. I mean, that's exciting. The Indy 500, where they take a rolling start 3 abreast in IndyCar, that's exciting. So, you know, motorsports in general are great. You know, it's a dangerous sport too. A lot of people are injured, and that's unfortunate. Yeah. But when you're doing 220, 230 miles an hour,
and you hit a wall, that's kind of
something's going to happen.
You can't expect everyone to live, but
and, you know, people get injured in hockey too. But I can watch golf and enjoy it.
Oh, you know what? We like watching darts.
Yeah.
From
180.
Yeah, it's amazing how popular it is over there in Europe.
It's amazing, in England especially. And one of the biggest dart players, you know, in the last decade or so is a guy by the name Phil Taylor. And I don't know if I'm related or we're related to Phil Taylor or not, but it'd be neat if we were. But his nickname is the Power. The Power. Phil the Power Taylor. And all these dart players, you know, they're built kind of like me, like the dad bod plus 50 extra pounds. And but man, they can sling those darts.
Yeah, they can.
It's kind of fun to watch. I think it's harder for me to find a sport that I really can't get into, and one of them is definitely basketball. I have difficulty with basketball, and I think because of my hockey exposure, I know what a check is, and I know what interference is, and I know what a hit should be, and I like legal checking and hitting. In basketball, you just do that, you know, and it's a foul. And I don't like the thing I don't like the most about basketball is teams who are behind, who want the ball back, will foul on purpose to get the ball after the free throw. You know, like I don't like any sport that encourages a penalty to be taken to try to gain an advantage later. It's a low percentage gamble, but it's worth doing for a team that's behind, and I don't like that.
Okay.
Really don't.
I agree to an extent. I do like playoff basketball. I do find that exciting. But I don't really like basketball in general. Regular season basketball, you'll never see me watching a game.
No.
NFL, I'll watch the odd NFL game. Definitely the Super Bowl, and not for the commercials. I actually like to watch the game. Just to touch on NASCAR just really quickly.
Sure.
We have a second channel, More Post to Post. If you're not aware of it, now you are. We are going to be talking about NASCAR and some drivers and some car designs and stuff. So if you are a NASCAR fan, head on over to that channel and subscribe, because there is a couple videos coming in the future.
Coming up.
Yeah.
Coming up. And just to back to your football, do you have an opinion between Canadian and American football? Because they're quite different.
I like the CFL because of the downs. There's 3 downs instead of 4.
Yeah.
I feel like the game goes a little bit quicker. It's a little more intense, but I feel like there's a more risk in the NFL. They make bigger plays, and it's a little more jazzy, I guess. So.
Yeah, Canadian football, the big difference between the two is that the Canadian football field is 10 yards longer. So it's actually, we have a 55-yard line as our center field instead of a 50-yard line. The other thing that, of course, the 3 downs I think does is it puts more of the game in the air. You know, there's more passing and less running in the Canadian football. American football, you know, if you've got a guaranteed runner who can get you 4 yards every carry, you can be a running team and, you know, just get first downs every 3 or 4 downs.
Yeah, I think because they've got 4 downs, they're willing to play around with plays and stuff a little bit more.
That's true.
And that is true. That is one of the reasons why
there's a little more creativity.
I don't know if I would say that I like one more than the other. I like them both for what they are. But if you're an American fan who watches the NFL and you've never seen the CFL, I definitely recommend checking it out. You'd probably like it.
I think so. Now, it used to be, maybe 15 or 20 years ago, because the CFL starts earlier than the NFL, you know, the CFL gets going in, I think, June, early July, whereas the NFL doesn't really roll till the fall. ESPN used to show CFL games in the summer just so American fans could get their fix of football, live football, before their own season started. The CFL even expanded into the United States.
I think I remember
many years ago. They put a team in Baltimore.
I don't remember that.
And a few other places. It didn't last, but yeah.
There's been some famous people who've played in the CFL. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson played for. I don't want to say. I think he played for Calgary, but
really,
I could be wrong.
I didn't know.
He was
that.
Vancouver, or no, not Vancouver. I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I shouldn't say anything.
And some American football stars have ended up playing in Canada.
Yeah.
You know, just because they had contract disagreement. You know, Doug Flutie or somebody would come to Canada and play, just so they wouldn't be forced to honor a contract they didn't like in the States or whatever it might be.
Absolutely.
Although Canadian football obviously wouldn't pay as much. And most of the refs in Canadian football are actually doing it on the weekend as a spare job. They're not professional refs like NHL refs.
That's quite amazing.
They're accountants or, you know, mechanics or whatever they are. It's kind of cool. All right, that's a long answer.
That was a long answer.
Jake Miner says, I've never been to Canada. I know I need to get my priorities straight. What city, province do you recommend I go to and why?
I guess it depends on where you live, because but I mean, there's a lot of biased answers that we could throw around here. Prince Edward Island, where we live, is
absolutely gorgeous.
Don't come here in the winter. Don't come here in the spring. Come here in the summer. It's absolutely incredible. No matter where you stay in the island, you're basically 10 or 20 minutes away from a beach at the very most.
Yeah, or you're probably on the beach.
It's
a paradise.
It's one of the best. It was voted one of the best islands in the world.
Yeah.
I think it was like 3rd or something crazy, something like that.
As Justin would say, hands down.
Hands down, the best island in the world.
Yeah. I would be partial to Montreal. I'm from there, so I guess I'm biased. You know, I'll admit that. Montreal, I think, is a great example of all that Canada is. You know, it's a very multicultural city. You've got the English-French thing, which is, you know, Canada's a bilingual country. Montreal is an epitome of that. It has terrain. There's a mountain in the city called Mount Royal. You can go to the top of that mountain and look out on the skyline almost from the same height as the tallest buildings. It has skyscrapers. It has sports. It has all kinds of activities. Montreal is on an island itself, you know, and there's there's rapids you can ride, and there's it's planetarium.
I like Montreal. I don't know if I'd recommend any big city. That's just not. It's just a city to me. It's not really Canada. I would say go to see Banff, drive up to Jasper. That's my recommendation. If you're coming to Canada, go to Banff and drive down, or go to Banff and drive up to Jasper, or go to Jasper and drive down to Banff. Do that Icefields Parkway drive down through there, whatever it's called. That's
the Columbia Icefields Parkway.
Icefield. That's my suggestion.
And that's in western Alberta in the Rocky Mountains.
Yep. So fly into Calgary, drive an hour over to Banff, and do that. That's my suggestion. Thumbs up.
Okay, so if you're not going to be in a city, I agree. If you're going to be in a city, I like Montreal. My second city choice would be Vancouver.
Vancouver would be my first city choice.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Close to the mountains. BC is beautiful.
You
Victoria Island.
Take a cable car up to the top of Grouse Mountain in the evening and watch the sunset, and whoa, can't beat that.
Victoria is really nice.
Victoria is beautiful. Montreal, Canada generally has a lot to offer a tourist if they were going to come here, but it's so darn big that you've got to, kind of pick. You can't do it all. Not in one trip.
We're going to zip through these.
Okay, Yinstigator says, what's your favorite place you've ever been to and why?
Mine was the first cruise I was on in 2009. That's not really a place. It was in the middle of the Caribbean Ocean. But the first night of the first day I was on the cruise, I was by myself at the top of the cruise ship. And it was a warm breeze. And I think Mary Poppins was playing on the big screen. And I was like one of the only people up there. I have no interest in Mary Poppins, but it was just a really calming experience. So that's my favorite place I've ever been. That's kind of a weird answer, but...
I think mine would have to be Maho Beach in St. Martin.
Oh, right, yeah.
Where the planes come in low over the beach. St. Martin was devastated by the hurricane situation this fall, so I hope they get back on their feet, but that was my favorite place so far.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Loved it. It was great. Xander Malcolm says, if you could live in any country or province, state in the world, where would it be? I presume, let's say you have unlimited money, where would you go?
Probably, I would love to to be somewhere down in the Caribbean, maybe Turks and Caicos. Maybe, I love Colorado. The state of Colorado is incredible. I'd love to live there. Maybe even Montana, minus Trump, I guess. But, I don't know. I'm sure that you would pick somewhere in Europe, maybe like Scotland or Ireland or something.
Actually, I think I'd pick Manhattan.
Really?
I think if I had unlimited money, I'd have a penthouse apartment in Lower Manhattan in a place that was near the subway where I could open up my curtains, kind of like where Casey Neistat lives there in Battery Park City, Open it up, there's the Hudson River. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, that's, I'm okay with that.
Okay, cool. JTB3's 3 questions. What music would you listen to get hyped or pumped for a game?
In Flames. In Flames.
That's your answer?
Name of a band.
Okay. Mine's probably...
Or Iron Maiden.
All right. Mine's probably AC/DC or something. 2, if you were to choose a player to meet that hasn't played for the Canadians.
Jake Allen.
I could go with that. I'd like to meet... oh, man.
Hurry.
I gotta hurry. I gotta go.
You gotta hurry.
I can't do it.
Jake Allen.
Okay, Jake. 3, this isn't hockey related. What do you prefer, F1 or NASCAR? NASCAR. Yeah, like F1 though, a lot. My mama says, why were you used to be called...
Snack Pack. Okay, so if you watch my earlier videos, my nickname Snack Pack. That's because I used to work at a place. Jason used to work there too. A bunch of other people used to work there. I wasn't very vocal. I was very quiet. And they didn't know my name. And I always had snack packs for lunch, animal crackers. So they just started calling me Snack Pack. And that's just my name forever. Okay. And there you go.
Andy, Mickey56 Gaming, Pens or Blackhawks?
Blackhawks.
Me too. Okay.
That's the last question. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked it, hit the like button. If you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button. And we'll see you in the future. Adios.